This is my favourite puzzle that I got to make for Monument Valley 3. It's called the Rubik Sphere. When I first thought of this puzzle, there were two challenges ahead. One was technical and the other was design. So the sphere was set up into these 8 courts. There's one rotator that activates on the longitude, one rotator that activates on the latitude, and one rotator that allows you to rotate the entire sphere. The main technical issue is that these courts can only belong to one rotator at a time, so we need to reparent them to the correct rotator as soon as the player touches it. What this required was volume detector sensors for each court that could be tied to longitude and latitude activation. These were tied to trigger objects, which were then tied to our sequencer, which gave the orders to reparent the correct courts to the correct mover. With the Rubik Sphere technically working, our design challenge was how to make an interesting path that the player has to solve. I started off by analysing where paths can go on a court, how they line up, and how they can move. We needed to standardise some path information on the courts so that the player could identify path patterns to walk along. So each side of a court had 3 entrances or exits that were in the same position on every side of every court. I labelled these point right for paths that started to the side of a triangle point left for those on the other side of a triangle point, and centre line for those in the middle. Given the way that a Rubik Sphere moves, every court can be rotated to align with the side of every other court, so the player has a lot of freedom in solving the puzzle. I also found that all point left paths automatically connect with point right paths, so the main conundrum for the player to solve is how to get to the centre line paths that lead to the plinth. After that, it's just a painstaking process of manually moving these paths on the courts so that the nav perfectly lines up with the nav on every other path. I hope you enjoy the level. I'm still trying to figure out how to solve it. If you want to see more of the design process for a Monument Valley level, then check out the video on my YouTube channel.